Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Um, we have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Tessa, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Ostrander,
Yes.
Commissioner Matusik,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinclair,
Yes.
Chair Newton.
Yes. Our next section is for public comment. We ask that at this point, we'll allow public to come forward if they have any comments that they would like to bring forward to the Planning Commission. We ask that those comments be related to items that are within the purview of the City of Cannon Beach's Planning Commission. This is not a general forum for discussions about things that are not within our purview. If you would like to speak, we ask that you state your name, your full name, and a mailing address. Is there anyone at this time who would like to speak, who would like to make a public comment? No hands up, Robert?
No hands are up. The person who, the 8123 phone number, I've got them so they can talk if they unmute.
But no hand up. Okay. We'll move on to our action item. This is adoption of the findings from our last meeting, Thursday, January 25th, meeting CU 23-04, Red Crow LLC on behalf of Patrick Dave LLC for conditional use permit. I saw Dorian had some comments he sent to all of us. Were there any other comments besides Dorian that were shared electronically before we jump into our conversation?
I just want to mention that the 8123 is Jan.
Okay, I thought that might be.
Good for you, Dorian. I love it. Okay.
I had a question. You said Dorian sent in comments on it. I didn't receive.
I sent it only to Steve and Robert, and I copied Clay because we're not allowed to send it to the whole group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that went to the whole group. Dorian, you want to lead us off with your concern?
It wasn't so much a concern as I thought there was just a slight little add on item number 4 in our requirements. I just thought that it should end with as approved or as something to do with that it needs to be blessed and approved by the city arborist. At the end of that sentence, that was it.
Okay.
Dorian, that was actually my very, very similar comment on the same vein. We had I remember having a discussion during the meeting about the first sentence that's in number 4, making sure community development director, public works and or fire department details how it's to be closed, but then that last sentence then says how to close it, saying by revegetating and returning to natural state. But that first sentence of that paragraph is what we kind of discussed,
Right.
of however it's deemed appropriate to return it back to the natural state, whether it's the fire department requiring bollards or vegetative state, whatever that is. So I thought that sentence or that paragraph contradicted itself with ask public works and fire department how to do it, and then the last sentence saying, but this is how you will do it. If that makes any sense.
If I could explain, I was just thinking that the owner shall submit plans, so it was just kind of like wanting to make sure there was some type of plan, and that the revegetating to a natural state could be incorporated into those plans, but we can certainly rewrite or take comments however you'd like to change that.
So what if we just move that last sentence to the beginning so that we start with that plant, that access will be permanently closed by revegetating in its natural state. And then we could add here, as Dorian suggests, under the supervision of the city arborist. And then we go into that there shall be plans submitted. And I think this is, I don't know to whom, but then there would be a plan to show how that vegetation will occur.
Okay, so I got the first part of that. How would you
So
like
it would-
to?
So then you could say the owner shall submit plans for reach vegetation too. Now, I
Okay,
know
hold on.
DRB is gonna probably see this. So I don't know if that's the proper place to submit the plan, or if it does go to community development, public works. I don't think it goes to the fire department, though.
How would you feel if I said instead of revegetation here, if I said restoration?
Okay, yeah.
Did we want to read that back to them?
I've got it up. They can see it.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
So I think now it's just a question of who is reviewing those plans.
What I had was that it would be like community development, public works, and the fire department, if you wanted to. I guess where I wanted to at least come to us because we could take a look at those like landscape plans or what have you, public works and fire department, so that when they're actually closing access, it's done to an acceptable level from the transportation perspective. So that's kind of open, but that was the thought process.
So I think since there's no transportation involved, I mean, it just needs to be closed off completely. And it
Yeah.
sounds like Chief Reckman already said he didn't have a fire concern.
Mhm.
So it seems like neither Public Works nor the fire department at this point should have a concern, right? Because
Correct.
we've already checked, you checked on that. You know, if you hadn't checked on it, then I agree, we would need
Right.
to do that.
So one thought is, as I understand it, Public Works is actually going to issue the permit to construct the temporary access. It seems logical that they would be notified when it's time to close it.
I
Might be
agree with
notified,
that.
but I don't know if they're the correct ones to review the plan. You know, I don't know that they would have the expertise on revegetation.
So if you wanted, it could be the community development department and the city arborist or something to that effect, if you'd like to do it that way.
Yes, I would like the city arborist in there again, because they need to be more than just a consultant.
Does that work?
So I guess my last question is, if DRB is reviewing this application, is it appropriate to include them in this part of the review process?
I know one of the things that we were planning on doing was to make sure that they were aware of the conditions that the plan commission was putting on the application. So
Okay.
from that standpoint, we could raise it, but the information's definitely, we will definitely be providing the conditions to them, so they'll be aware of them. So, I don't know if that makes any difference in the concern, but they will definitely see the conditions the plan commission has put on the application.
Did they continue their hearing to their February meeting, or did they do partial continuation to like halfway through?
They continued it until their February meeting. They
Okay.
wanted to be aware of the decision that the plan commission made with regards to the footpath and if that was approved or not before taking any action.
Okay.
So once this, the plan at this point in time is for the design review board to review the application at their February meeting.
There just needs to be a comma rather than a period after and the city arborist, because the sentence does continue.
Okay,
Right where your cursor is.
There's a period here. Oh,
That should be a
okay, no,
comma.
I see where you're going. All right. There,
There you go. Yeah.
okay.
That comma has a strike through on it, so it's, if you take off changes, that comma won't be there. There we go.
There we go.
People feeling good about the way that's reading?
Yeah, my only concern was the verbiage just in number 4. Everything else to me looked like exactly what we discussed.
Yeah, I generally thought you guys did a good job in summarizing what our concerns were, and
Never an easy task to summarize our thought process. So done.
it will never be done as well as it can be. Okay, are people happy with the language in the other sections? Okay, may I have a motion to approve these findings as they are written?
Well, but before that, I want to talk about enforcement, and I guess it doesn't have to do with just this project per se. I mean,
Sure.
obviously, enforcement of this project is, I mean, without it, what's the point of this meeting today or anything we do? So, I don't know, Steve, is that something you can update us on? I mean, how does this actually look being enforced?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be up to basically at the time, we'll work with the community, the building inspection department, Alton Butler. And then obviously we'll be in discussions with the applicant and developer as they're moving forward. And it's just going to be one of those situations that the community development department, meaning planning and building, is going to have to be staying on top of these conditions so that basically I think the most important thing I believe that the Plan Commission is concerned about is with the occupancy permit. And there's a lot of conditions in here that specify what's to be done. And it certainly makes it much easier on us to be having those discussions with the applicant, and they'll receive this information at that time too. But this helps administer these conditions and those discussions about prior to occupancy and specific dates and things like that help us to administer it. So that is on us to do.
Aaron, do you feel like that answered your question? Obviously specific to this project, but
Yeah, I think that answers the question. I just, for me at least, it'll be out of sight, out of mind. I won't, I won't follow back up on this, and I don't know if any of you will either. So, what actually happens from here on out is just an ongoing concern that I have, just in general, with what's happening around town. But yeah, that answered my question. Thank
Okay.
you.
I think it's a great point, Aaron, and I think it's one that we should be talking about in our code audit for sure, is what sort of protections do we have to make sure this stuff comes full circle. And anyway, we can come back to that. Are there other concerns that people would like to talk about before I look for motion? Okay, may I have a motion to approve these findings as they're written?
I'll move to approve go ahead, you go.
Yeah. I'll move to approve these findings as written.
I'll second it.
Great, thank you, Dorian. Any further discussion? Okay, Tessa, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Sinclair,
Yes.
Commissioner Ostrander,
Yes.
Commissioner Matusek,
Yes.
Commissioner Farrow,
Yes.
Commissioner Moritz,
Yes.
Chair Newton.
Yes. Okay, our findings are approved. Thank you again, Robert and Steve, for getting that done so succinctly. Quickly before we adjourn, Robert, Steve, do you guys have any update on our meeting with Marcy, our work session timing with Marcy?
No, I was working with Jen and Marcy in terms of trying to figure out some dates. I was looking at the last week of February, but we already have a work session item for that one. So we will, I'm waiting to hear back from Marcy, and as soon as I do, I'll try to share that with you guys.
Okay, if city council gets grumpy with us,
Sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
tell them we're
So
trying.
should we not be holding the 15th of February? I know on Thursday we sort of did a soft hold. Is that no longer?
Yeah,
An
no,
option.
I'm not saying that's not it. I will
Okay.
ask her again. I
Okay,
just
great.
haven't, she was here last night for that housing and I didn't get an
Yeah.
opportunity to
It was
speak
busy.
to her. So I will, after we get done, I'll send something out immediately.
Okay, great.
Super. Thank you both for your hard work, and Tessa.
Yeah.
Thanks, Team CB. Okay.
I had a quick, relatively good of the order question, regarding the email that Clay you sent out to the, attorneys and everything about public comment. Has there been any, further information back on handling, situations like that?
The information that I've received, and I was very careful to make sure you guys were copied on it as well, and I have not checked to see if you were all copied on the response I got, was we need to put a pause on the conversation until the city unifies how we respond generally to these types of issues, which, you know, toe on the free speech component we're protecting. So pause, I guess, is the short answer until the city attorney comes up with the unified answer from the city.
I just want to point out that all three addresses used were homes for sale.
I suspected that they came from Zillow listings.
Yeah. And I happen to know the owners of one of the homes, and they assured me it was not them.
Well, the second name that was used is an infamous, serial killer and rapist. So
Yeah.
it's just three pseudonyms using addresses pulled from the internet.
It's obviously a larger question that unfortunately we really need to dive in on, because I think we're going to see more and more of that, you know, even at a planning commission level, city council levels are being inundated across the country right now. I did a little research on it.
Yeah.
And it's really challenging some of our, you know, bigger goals we strive to protect in this country. But man, tough stuff. So hard to watch the city councilors sitting through that. Just awful. Anyway, probably a work session item for us here very soon. And I imagine some additional training we will be going through here very soon, because it will be tough to act in a constrained way when someone starts that nonsense with us.
In an appropriate and
Oh yeah,
constitutionally protected way.
totally. Anyway.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else before we adjourn? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. Have a good rest of the day.
Appreciate you
Thanks,
too.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.